All right, coming back to you with another Torch Tip Tuesday. I'm with Jared Massic at Maple Mountain High School. And for this one, I'm going to do my interview with Jared. We're going to ask him a few questions. First one is, what one thing can people do, in your opinion, to become more proficient with a torch?
It's a good question, Corey. One thing, understand how to read the pressure chart. You might have a dirty tip, you might have a different style brand, but if you can set your pressures the right for the material thickness you're cutting on, you're going to be heading in the right direction.
Perfect. Okay. What is the most common mistake people make when trying to cut with a torch?
Too close with the tip. I see that all the time with my students, even though I tell them to try and keep those cones about a ½ inch or so off the metal. They're touching the cones to the metal or touching the actual metal tip to the metal, and you're just too close to get a good quality cut that way.
Next question. What can people do to extend the life of their equipment? You guys have a ton of students go through here. They're all using the equipment. What can they do?
Treat it like it's your own. I think once you take ownership of the equipment, realize that the safety and the quality of that equipment will impact you and how you use it. I think that would help actually extend the life if you're watching where you're cutting your drops, if they're falling on your hoses because you're not paying attention, or if you're pointing the torch in random directions because you're not paying attention. Just kind of take ownership of that equipment, treat it like your own, and it is a fine piece of equipment. It's not just a hammer with a flame coming out the other end. You actually need to treat it as a precision tool, and it'll last you.
Excellent. Last question. From your experience, what's one tip that you would give to everybody out there regarding cutting torches, equipment that way?
One tip to give somebody about oxy.
Welders out there, maybe, let's say you're graduates. What would you tell them to be more successful? Anything
welding related or oxy, like cutting related?
Let's do cutting and then welding.
Okay. That went with my mic. I would give them the advice to always keep an extra set of tip cleaners and a tip on hand. That way you can be prepared for almost anything. Having maybe a couple different sizes of tips ready to go. That way whatever job pops up, you'll be able to tackle that job and have the confidence you can get a good quality cut on it. Because the better cut you put down the first go, the less prep you have, the faster you get it done, and the more money you can make faster.
And the easier it is to weld.
Yeah, the easier it is to weld. If it's a nice straight cut, you don't have to do a lot of prep, a lot of grinding to make it ready to be weldable.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. This has been your Torch Tip Tuesday.